faithful Niner Empire. What's good? What's good? What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. And I gotta say, Faithful, don't you love it when the plan comes together? I appreciate everyone who's rocking with me. This will be the 5th episode of the What's Good show featuring yours truly, Jay in the Bay. Shout out to everyone who's watching the 49ers Cutback crew. And shout out to the 49ers Cutback crew for giving me an opportunity to come on their platform and talk about, you see it, the faithful, the Niner Empire. Well, week 5 is upon us. And obviously the Niners right now, we are 2-2 at the break. At the beginning of the year, I did not think we would be 2-2. I thought at minimum, at worst, I should say, we would be at 3-1. But we're 2-2. The season is still young, but it doesn't get any easier because we have to travel down to Phoenix, Arizona, the desert, and take on them good old Arizona Cardinals. And this is not the same Arizona Cardinals team under Cliff Kingsbury that we've seen over the past few years. So far through the first 4 games of the year, they are undefeated. I definitely did not envision that for the Cardinals. They are the last undefeated team in the NFL. And wouldn't that be beautiful if the 49ers could come down into their home stadium and beat them, and they would no longer be undefeated, obviously. And don't forget, we have a bye week after this week. So it would be much better to go into that bye week 3-2 than 2-3, obviously, right? But let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, they're led by, Kyler Murray, very dynamic quarterback, makes defenders look silly. And Cliff Kingsbury has this offense, top 5 in a lot of the major categories. For instance, they're number 1 in total yards per game. They have a top 5 running game, top 5 passing offense, and I believe they're the highest scoring team in the NFL. So the 49ers defense, we will definitely have our work cut out for us going up against the Arizona Cardinals. They just look like a really well-oiled machine right now. They had a big win against against the LA Rams, big divisional win. I don't think anyone took the Cardinals to beat the Rams. But hey, that's why you line up everyone 0-0 at the beginning of the game, and you still got to go ahead and play. And that's what the Cardinals did. They beat the brakes off them good old LA Rams. And we're going to have our work cut out for us. They have D-Hop, of course, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. AJ Green, they signed from the Cincinnati Bengals. He looked like he turned the clock back a little bit. He's looking pretty good in the red Arizona Cardinals uniform. He's producing. They also have Christian Kirk, who is a speedster. And what's most impressive about the Cardinals, honestly, is the running game. This is the first time I can actually say that the Cardinals running game is legit. James Conner. I mean, who is this James Conner guy? I know he came over from the Steelers, but he didn't look like this in Pittsburgh last year. But I love their dual threat at the running back position with James Conner and Edmonds. And they wear funky numbers. I think Edmonds is number 2, Conner is number 6. That was weird when I first saw that their game against the Rams. But make no mistake about it. They have a dynamic duo at the running back position. And of course, when you sprinkle in Kyler Murray, it makes their offense even more dynamic. So the offense is amazing so far. 49ers defense will definitely have our hands full trying to stop and slow down the Arizona Cardinals offense. I think the offensive line is doing pretty good as well. They traded for, I believe it was Rodney Hudson, the center from the Las Vegas Raiders. And hey, that trade is paying off because that Cardinals offense is humming right now. It looks to be unstoppable, but they still have to contend with the 49ers defense. And I think with the Rams defense, the 49ers defense, I think they are very good. Obviously, I love the intensity that the 49ers brought last week against Seattle. in order to keep the Cardinals offensive attack, under wraps, to slow it down. We have to bring that same level of intensity. We have to get after Kyler Murray. And one stat I saw, Kyler Murray, when he's pressured, he has the highest quarterback rating when he's, pressured. So, this, hopefully, I'm sure DeMeco Ryans knows this information. It'll be interesting to see how the Niners try to slow down Kyler Murray because he's dynamic in the pocket. Even if you get a pass rush on him, he can still maneuver to the left, maneuver to the right. And I think we're going to have a similar approach last week. We have to rotate a lot of defensive linemen to continue to have a fresh pass rush against Kyler Murray. And will DeMeco Ryans put a spy on Kyler Murray? Maybe he'll do that at certain points in the game. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing DeMeco Ryans' defensive scheme against Kyler Murray. And I can't wait for it. And faithful, let's get to Jay and the Bay's 5 big things.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
5 big things.
All righty. So the number one thing I feel we have to do, you guys know it. You know it, Niner Empire. We got to run the ball. Shanahan loves to run the ball. And Elijah Mitchell, I believe he has been practicing on a limited basis. He's still dealing with that shoulder injury. I would feel a lot more confident about running the ball if Elijah Mitchell was there. But hey, Trey Sermon, he looked pretty good last week. I thought before that game that we had not seen the best from Trey Sermon, and I think we saw what he can do. I think he averaged about at least 4.5 yards per carry. He should have ran the ball a lot more, but hopefully we can get a similar type of performance from our running game this week against the Arizona Cardinals. And you're probably saying, Jay, why? Well, the Arizona Cardinals have a bottom 5 run defense. That is one thing that, that defense does not do well. They can't stop the run. I believe they're pretty solid in the passing defense. I believe they rank one notch below us. And I think we are like a top 12, top 13 pass defense. So they can defend the pass, but they have trouble stopping the run. And I like our chances with our offensive line going up against their defensive line. Trent Williams on the offensive line, he is practicing and he said he will be playing. So that's definitely a great sign. And number one, we got to run the ball. We have to win the time of possession. Let's go to number 2. We have to stop the run. The Cardinals, they have a top 5 rushing attack. And they have Kyler Murray, as I mentioned before, who can make off-schedule runs. He can do scheduled quarterback runs. He's going to be very difficult to defend. And then also they have that dual attack in the backfield with Edmonds and Connor. They're pretty good running backs. And the 49ers, we would definitely have our hands full trying to stop their running attack. But I think we did a solid job last week against Seattle. I know Carson was bottled up. I know Collins, he had a few good runs in that game against Seattle. But I think if we're going to win the time of possession, get them off the field on third downs, we got to stop the run. Number 3. I loved that intensity that I saw from the 49ers defense last week against Seattle. I was pleasantly surprised. But I think with the, emergence of Emmanuel Mosley coming off, injury, he looks pretty good. I think he played excellent last week and the week prior. Josh Norman should be coming back this week. I think that'll definitely help the secondary. We'll have veteran playmakers, in the secondary, and I think that'll definitely help our defense. And the defensive line got after it. We actually saw that's always good to see when you're wearing the red and gold. If you see D4 do that, he just got a sack. And I believe he had 2 sacks last week. Nick Bosa had 1. And I think we had one more player whose name is escaping me that had another sack. But we really bottled up the Seattle Seahawks offense. And that's something that we have to do against Arizona. Let's force some 3 and outs. And that way the ball will be given back to the offense, and then we'll have more opportunities to score. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, we got to take advantage of those opportunities. But defense, we got to do our job first. Let's force some 3 and outs, make it very difficult for the Cardinals to move the ball. Number 4, play discipline. Now, last week and a week prior, and it's funny, in our 2 losses, we've lost a turnover battle. And that's something that we just have to get much better at. We can't fumble the ball. Trenton Cannon, he had a bad game. He fumbled the ball on the kick return. Jimmy G had an interception in 2 straight games. That's something we can't do. We can't afford to give the other team, the opposition, more opportunities and a short field to score. We're putting our defense in a bad position to stop them. Or not a bad position. Well, it's a bad position and it's a tough position to stop. And that's something that we have to do. Also, penalties. We have to do much better in the penalty department. I feel like the first 2 games we did fairly well. And then the last 2, turns out, in the games that we've lost, we've been terrible at penalties and turnovers. So those are things that can definitely, flip the field and allow the other team to have an advantage. So penalties and turnovers, we definitely have to cut in half, eliminate. And if we do that, we'll definitely have a better chance at winning this Sunday against Arizona. Number 5. All right, we have to win up front. I can literally say this every week, but in the trenches, that's where football is won and lost to me. And if we're able to create holes for the running game, we will do much better in winning the time of possession, converting those third down conversions, which are very, very important, and also creating a pocket, creating a clean pocket for. I was going to say Jimmy G, but we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I don't know how you guys feel, Faithful, but if Jimmy can't practice all week, I think we should roll with Trey Lance to start. I think that just makes the most sense. I like Jimmy when he's healthy, but when he's not healthy, we saw what happened. The first drive last week, took the team down, scored a touchdown. He was healthy. He was fine. He got hurt on that drive. And then the rest of the game, he wasn't effective. And I don't want to have an ineffective Jimmy G starting against Arizona. I think we should ride with Trey. He's getting the most of the first team reps. And I think that should be, I think that's just the best decision, I think. So hopefully Shanahan feels the same way, but we'll find out sooner than later. And on the defensive side of the ball, we have to win up front as well. We can't allow them to have holes in the running game. The defensive linemen have to attack the offensive linemen. The linebackers have to make tackles, and make the Arizona Cardinals offense one-dimensional. And I think if we win up front on the defensive side of the ball, we'll definitely have more chances of doing that. And that's it for Jay and the Bay's 5 big things.
Hey, Jay!
All righty, it's time for Hey Jay. That's when subscribers of the 49er Cutback crew send in their questions to me, Jay and the Bay, and I appreciate your questions. And also make sure you guys subscribe to Jay and the Bay on YouTube. You can check me out on YouTube, IG, and Twitter. I would appreciate it. So we have the first question from Jay. And I got to greet you by saying, what's good? Thanks for watching, Jay. Jay says, is there a player the Niners should target to trade for before this year's deadline, or should they just hold off to all the injured players come off IR? That's a great question. Stephon Gilmore, he was released. That's what we thought. And then he got traded. I definitely was interested in Stephon Gilmore. I thought that the salary cap, because I think he was getting paid 15 plus mil a year. That's what I thought. But it looks like the Patriots are going to cover a lot of that money. I wish we would have went for Stephon Gilmore, and Shanahan and Lynch said that they were interested in him, but the Patriots decided to trade him to Carolina, and Carolina's definitely going for it. They've made several trades. But at the top of my head, I can't think of any other players right now that the 49ers would be willing to give up draft capital to obtain these players. That's the thing. We don't have a first round pick next year. And I would be very surprised if the Niners trade draft capital to pick up a player for a year or two. So I think the 49ers stand pat where we are right now. Thanks for the question, though, Jay. My dog's best friend. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the What's Good show with your host, Jay and the Bay. Thanks for watching 49ers Cutback Crew. My dog's best friend says, will the 49ers win double-digit games this year? Wow, man, that's an incredible question. At the beginning of the year, I was like, yeah, this is a no-brainer. I thought we would be, 12 wins, 5 losses. But I would have to say, being totally transparent, this team is not it's not as good as it was at the beginning of the year. I'm just being real. Jason Verrett being out, huge injury. Obviously, we have multiple injuries to the running back room. And let's be real. I don't know how you feel, my dog's best friend, but Jimmy G has regressed. This is not the same Jimmy that I thought we would see. I thought we would see a similar Jimmy to the 2019 season, but he's had some good moments and then he's had some terrible moments. And I don't get the inconsistency from Jimmy G. And we need better play at quarterback. Obviously, he hasn't benefited from a consistent running game, I guess you could say. But it's looking it's looking less and less like we'll win double-digit games. I know it's still early. We haven't played our best football. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say we will win double-digit games this year. We just haven't hit our stride yet, and we just have to continue to play better. That's what it comes down to. Got to continue to play better, continue to execute. If we do that, we should get to that double-digit mark for sure. Thanks for the question.
Fadeaway Jay.
All righty, and now it's time for Fadeaway Jay. And I think the 49ers will keep this game competitive. I think we will win this game against the Arizona Cardinals. Most important, no turnovers, keep the penalties to a minimum. And we had to figure out a way to slow down Kyler Murray, whether it's put a spy on him and whether we put Fred Warner on him, who tracks his every move, whether it's Jimmy Ward, whether it's Jaquiski Tart, whoever it is, we need to have someone on Kyler Murray because he excels when he's blitzed. He finds the open receiver when he's blitzed. And that may be something that the 49ers don't do this game, only because Kyler Murray excels at that. He excels at getting the ball to the open receiver or running back when he's blitzed. So also we have to continue to convert in the red zone. The 49ers, surprise, surprise, we rank number 1 in red zone efficiency. I believe we're like 13 of 13 opportunities. So that's incredible. We have to continue to do that. And I hope Trey Lance starts. I just don't want to see an injured Jimmy G. I respect him for being tough. I respect him for wanting to go out there and perform for the team, even when he's not 100%. But if he can't practice all week, I think we should just roll with Trey. And we got to run the ball. Arizona ranks bottom 5 in run defense. They have they have a tough time stopping the opposing team running the ball. And the 49ers, we need to excel at that. And it starts up front in the trenches. And I think this will be an exciting game. This would be great if we could go into the bye week knocking off a division opponent in the Arizona Cardinals and also, getting them their first loss. That would be great. And we do have experience playing in the State Farm Stadium in Arizona. Back in 2020, we played our home games there, I believe, the last month of the year. And hey, we've got experience there. Unfortunately, I don't know what it is about Levi's. We're struggling at Levi's Stadium this year to get a win. So, hey, maybe this is good. Go on the road, familiar town, and, beat the Redbirds, beat the Cardinals. So I'm looking forward to this game. I have the 49ers pulling out a close win, 34-31 to give the Arizona Cardinals their first loss. We go into the bye week 3-2. That sounds much better to me than 2-3. And I appreciate everyone for watching the What's Good show featuring your host, Jay in the Bay. And shout out to the 49ers Cutback crew. And I will see you guys in the next one.